Cool. So this is basically my um, T3 Stack application. It's a notes app where users can basically create notes, and it has full CRUD functionality. So for this application, I use Next.js, TypeScript um, for backend and frontend, TRPC for communication between my frontend and my backend, um, Prisma for database, NextAuth for authentication. Cool. So basically, in order to sign in, I sign in with Discord because I'm using Discord as a provider, of which I'll show in my code. And you authorize, and then the user's authenticated, and now I am logged in as top. Then I can go ahead here and basically create nodes, as you can see here. So I can create here I place the title of my notes. Then here I basically put the content, and I create the notes. As soon as that happens, the note is rendered over here. What I can do as well is edit the notes as well, because I have that as a functionality. So if I edit the notes and add here, then you can see now it is edited, and I can also delete a note. So just simple CRUD functionality that I'm demonstrating there. Just to show that it's also connected to the database, I can select the accounts in the database. As you can see here, the note that was created shows the detail of the note ID, title, content, the user ID of the user who created the note, as well as the date it was created on. And you can fetch all the users, the user ID, the email of the user, image, as well as the name of the user, which is Tom. Cool. So let's jump into the code now. So basically, I have here my schema.prisma, which is the file I use in order to provide connection to my database. So here I have this generator client, and you can see the provider it's using is Prisma client in order for us to use Prisma for the database. I have data source, which uses Postgres as a provider in order to use Postgres for our database. Then I create models. So this is mainly for my models. The models I added here is the user model for a specific user logging in or registering, as well as the nodes model over here. And I have my authentication. This is my configuration TS folder file. This is basically going to help with creating an account and logging in. And in order to log in, I imported Discord provider from this package, which provides Discord as a provider in order to use it to log in. So here in my auth config method here, within it I have here providers, which uses Discord provider and enables login. I have the adapter, which uses Prisma adapter for the database. I have callbacks over here, which allows you to control what data is included in tokens and sessions. Then basically in my index.ts, mainly this line of code over here, if a user signs in, this runs. If a user signs out, this runs over here. Then we use HTTP requests for authentication as well, GET request and a POST request for logging in and logging out, essentially. So yeah, and those are basically our handlers that we use, hence why I imported handler from server auth over here. Okay, so that's basically the authentication. Then coming to my backend, if I come to my routers folder, nodes TS, in my backend I am basically using queries and mutations in order to fetch nodes, update nodes, create nodes, delete nodes. So here this is a query, get all query over here. So firstly I import create TRPC router. and I declare that here um, as a function. What this is basically doing is allowing my front end and my back end to communicate to each other with queries and mutations, of course, that I created. So I have this get all query, which basically gets all the nodes in the front end, renders it to the front end as well. Get by ID, which basically gets one node by its ID using the find unique method. Create mutation. So this one here is not a query, it's a mutation. So when we use create and update, we modifying the data, so we have to use a mutation. So this creates my nodes. This mutation is for updating my nodes. This one's for deleting my nodes. Essentially. Then I basically have my front end over here. As you can see, all these hooks. So I basically created a nodes page component. So let's have a look at how that works. So here I have basically my form. So basically here, if I want to create a note, I'll first input the title, which triggers the set title method, and initially the set title changes the state of data in this title variable, and whatever I place as a title will be shown in the front end as the current state of data. Then I have here the text area, which allows me to put in a content of the notes, called the set content function, which triggers the content variable to have the content that I typed in. Then when I click the button, I basically submit the note, and when I do that, this handle create note function is triggered, which essentially is going to let's see, is just going to create the note itself. It also works with the other mutations as well. As so for instance, when this handle create note function runs, create mutation dot mutate is called, and it creates the note with the title and the contents that we placed in the state of data over here, and it creates the note by running the create mutation over here, which uses the mutation. Then if I'm gonna delete basically delete a node, this runs and it triggers the delete mutation, which runs over here, and then it deletes the node. If I'm gonna edit, these are the functions that for editing. So start edit, cancel edit, save edit over here, and as soon as I save the edit, what happens is the update mutation runs, which basically sets the editing ID, edit title, edit content, and it runs that update mutation. Then it works the same with delete as well. So yeah, that's my front end, and that is basically the application. So yeah, cool.